Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. So it's been a little while since I made a video due to the holidays. Hopefully everyone has is having a great, Christmas, holiday, Hanukkah, whatever other holidays are celebrated during this time period. Hopefully everyone's having a great time, getting much needed rest, and relaxation or whatever. Okay, so last thing I did was track the bass. Meanwhile, since I've been at home, dealing with Christmas stuff and everything, I was able to practice playing along to the song with my guitar, and I found some, I think, pretty good moments to add in, like little things, like just little accent stuff to make it more exciting. Mainly just to make it more exciting, because the music is there, the melody lines are there. The structure is good. I just want to add in a few things for the other guitar player to do that'll keep him excited live, and the listener excited. So I'll do, and I'm not going to worry about tracking it stereo. I usually do that guitar with just one speaker. I'll just pick one mic just to keep it simple, and I'll usually pan it to one side, so it makes sense to just do one mic. So I'm going to do that tomorrow, barring anything coming up in between then and now, and then the night after that, that'll be tomorrow, that'll be Tuesday night. Then hopefully Wednesday I can do the vocal, or at least get it going, because I know I can't be here Thursday. So the goal is just to get it done and get this one done before the New Year is what I want to do, or at least have all the tracks in place, not completed maybe, but have the guitar track and the vocal finished. So what I need to do is clean up some of the stuff that I'd already recorded that I haven't cleaned up yet. And I don't know, most people have software they use and are way more into the computer part of music than I am, which is why I got into the Zoom, to avoid having to do so much computer stuff. And because I think the Zoom just sounds better when I do it when I master in the Zoom, as opposed to when I've tried to master with software. It just, I don't know, the whole unit just makes sense to follow it all the way to the end, because it's standalone recorder. It kind of does its own thing. It stands alone. All right, so track organizationally, I had moved the two guitar tracks from the left and right track, 1 and 2, and I swapped that. I'm just remembering what I did, and then I swapped 1 and 3 to lay bass on a new take. So these first 3 takes here, I know can contain the tracks that I want to take over to the computer and just do a little cleanup work on, and then send it back into the machine with a title on it. So I'm going to go to track first, the track button, and it's the second to the right on the bottom row of these buttons. And when I look at it, it says mono 9, 8, and 7. So those are my target tracks. Those are the ones I want to pull out of the Zoom and onto my desktop. So let's see here. I'm going to go to the next button I'm going to go to is USB, which is in the middle, the top row of these buttons. It's the middle black button on the top. And then you'll notice it says Audio IF for interface, reader, and storage. We're going to go to the middle one by taking that arrow down key on your trackpad here, and then hit enter on the reader. And now you'll see that it's attempting to make contact with the computer, which is connected with their proprietary USB cable. And then over here, I can see the icon. It's just sitting there. This is kind of awkward, but that way you can see the screen. And I don't have to record it, doing all this other stuff here. I'll sit on my Deluxe. Okay, so let's move. Now we're going to go over here, and it says Zoom R24. I arrow down to Project, and on Project I'm going to go down to Hell Yes, Hellys, because it wouldn't let me finish spelling Hell yes. Okay, so I'm going to look at audio, and I'm looking for 7, 8, and 9. So I found 7, hit the command button, 8 and 9. Oh, actually, you know what? It's easier to just take 7. I'm going to start with that track first because it's 7, it's the first one. And I'm going to bring it over to Audacity. And you can use any kind of software you want, like, you know, you can use anything. I just use Audacity because it's free on the internet. And if you're worried about them spying on you, get some kind of program to block them, you know, from watching. You know, I've got it blocked. I can't remember the name of the program, but it makes it, it's called radio silence, so that they can't, supposedly they're another one of those companies that, you know, does, it's like a spyware type deal. I don't know. Okay, so now I see my file here. I can see that it's a really nice file. And we can even play it back, except these speakers are totally blown. This is an old computer. Shows you what can be done with just an old piece of junk, you know. Okay, that is the left guitar. It would be that speaker right there. Okay, so all I really do with my cleanup nowadays, I used to do a few more things, noise reduction, things like that, but I found that it just added some weird sounds that I didn't dig, so I don't do that anymore. Okay, so instead, I'm going to go to Effect, and I'm going to come down to Classic Filters. Where are you? That's it. And then I'm going to go down to 20 Hertz. I'll just leave, I'm going to cut it off at that point, just to clean it up a little bit, just a tiny bit, just to get rid of any kind of low-end garbage that doesn't need to be there. And if there was a bunch of gaps, if it was a part that had space and gaps in it, I would go through the space and gaps and silence them if needed, you know, get rid of any kind of noise, like transitional noises getting to microphones, or, you know, stuff that happens in between takes. I mean, in between singing moments or playing moments. But in this case, the guitar just pretty much rocks all the way through. So there's no, there's nothing to, you know, there's nothing to silence, there's nothing to quiet. All I did was just a simple high-pass filter. And the only problem I'm going to have up here in the next couple days is that heater popping on. Hopefully it won't be as cold over the next couple days, and I won't have to fight this heater because, you know, you'll hear it on the mic. Okay, so now I've done the easy enough to do high pass filter, just to make sure that there's no low-end junk that's going to clutter things up. I don't want to do anything to the end because I'll do a final fade out at the end with all the tracks. I don't want to do anything to the beginning because I don't want to lose any kind of marks that I made that might give me cues. All that can be removed from the final take if I need to get rid of any noises or anything like that. So this track is done. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm looking at it, and I don't think I need to amplify it either. Let's see how much. Let's see if I amplify it. So I hit Effect. I'm going to hit Amplify, and it's saying. I just don't think there's any reason to amplify that. If I feel like I need to later, I can bring it up 2 or 3 dB. But I don't think that the volume is an issue. That it needs more, like more gain or volume. It sounds really powerful. So that could always be changed later. You can always go in and boost it 3 dB or whatever. And I also keep the original files. So all that's happening is I'm just making a new file that I've, you know, changed, but the original file remains. So I can always revisit that. I don't go back to the other one and work on it if I wanted to make major changes. If I wanted to boost the dBs a little bit, that's no big deal. But if I was going to go back and make major changes, I'd start back with the original file. You know, because that way it hasn't been manipulated yet. You just start from the beginning, make sure you're doing it right. Okay, so now we're going to just export this baby. Export the audio. Mono 007, but I'm going to change it to guitar left. So I'm going to change that, hit the caps lock, guitar L. I'll just say guitar left because it fits. Okay, so we got guitar left. Now this is important. The zoom is 16-bit, so make sure that you choose 16-bit as your file type. I've chosen Wave, Microsoft Sign, 16-bit PCM. If you choose anything else, like if you go 24-bit and forget, it won't recognize it. When you try to bring it back in the zoom, it just won't take it. You'll even put it in, you'll think it went in there and it looks like it's in there, but the zoom can't read it because it's not capable. When you're in effect mode, there's some things you can do. I've read and people have sent me notes saying there's ways to get around some of that, but primarily you're dealing with a 16-bit CD quality output. Okay, so that has been exported, so I can kill that window. Save changes? No, we don't need to save changes. We're not saving a file. We're just saving this particular thing, and you can, wait, where is it? Let me find it on the desktop. It's right here, guitar left. Now, next thing I'm going to do is take guitar left. Let me just click on the audio, so it opens up the audio. I'm going to drag guitar left in there so that it takes it and accepts it as a file. Once that is complete, I'm then going to go to the next track, which is Mono 8. And Mono 8 is the right guitar. Right side, that's that speaker. Hopefully this is even seeable at all, but it's not. Okay, so now this guitar track, I might boost this one slightly, like 1 dB. Yeah, I'm going to boost this one 1 dB just to make it exactly match 2 dB. It's 2 dB less than the other one, which I knew would happen because the Alnico speaker, puts out less stuff. I mean, less volume. Okay, so I'm trying to go to Amplify. And I'm going to go up 2.0. Okay, so now that file looks almost exactly like the ceramic speaker looked. So this is the Alnico speaker. It's a little softer in delivery, lower wattage. Just doesn't bite the same way the G12H30 does. So I just boosted it up a little bit so that they'll have the same amount of output. And it looks the same as that other file now. Next, I'm going to go back up to Effect and choose Classic Filters. This is in Audacity. Of course, if you're using something else, you have to go by what they do. Alright, so it's at 20 Hertz. I cut it off. That'll just clean it up the tiniest amount. And then I'm going to go to Export. Export this audio. We're going to call this Guitar Right. Okay, and then that's exporting. Kill Audacity. No. Guitar Right. Drag it in. And now Guitar Right and Guitar Left both exist in the Zoom. And now I'm going to go to Mono 9, drag it over to Audacity, wait for it to open, and that looks really good. Darn, that looks good. Good old tube pre. Now there are little gaps in here because the bass part has more stopping than the guitar part did, and so I could go through these gaps and silence them, but it was a direct job, so there isn't any room noise, and so the only noise would be like the slightest noises that would emanate like from my hand or whatever when I'm playing, so I'm not concerned with that. I don't need to do anything there. All I'm going to do is the low pass filter, the high pass filter, classic filter. I'm going to cut this off at 20 as well. Nothing else that I want to do to this. Don't need to amplify it. The signal looks good and strong. So then we just export the bass guitar. I'm going to just type in bass guitar, enter, enter. Okay, then I'm going to quit Audacity. I don't need it anymore because I've done the third track, 2 guitar tracks, 1 bass track. And then I look up here for my bass guitar. Where are you? Right here, is that you? Guitar left, guitar right. Bass guitar. Drag this over into the Zoom, wait for it to load. All done. Okay, now I'm going to drag the Zoom to the trash, and then you look down here at the machine and it'll say exit. Are you sure? Yes, indeed. You have to drag it to the trash before you exit, otherwise it'll do that whole thing where you ejected your hard drive before you should have thing, you know, on a computer. Okay, so we are now clear of this. This can be unplugged. And then I'm going to bring the camera around now and show you how to do the put the tracks together, because otherwise you won't see what I'm doing from over here. I don't even know if you could have seen much of this, but yeah, let me just move this, and then I will I'll bring the camera around, show you what this looks like. All right. Okay, what we have done is we've altered those 3 tracks. Let me just move this frame out. Yeah, just zoom out a little bit. We've altered those 3 tracks, and those 3 tracks were sitting right here. I had the bass here, guitar left here, and guitar right here. I think it's 9 or 8, 7, and 6, or 9, 8, and 7. Let's just check real quick. We'll go to track. I used this trackpad to go to 1, and that's 9. That was the bass. This is 8, which is the right side of the guitar cabinet. And then finally 7, because I'd swapped 7 and 9 in order to get a new track here to do the bass really quickly. Okay, so those are the tracks that are now going to be replaced. So, and I don't know where ultimately I'll put these tracks, but for now, I'm just going to leave them here, and then I'll move. I'll move one away from here, just swap it to do the vocal or the next guitar part. So, in fact, I'll make this a new take because we're going to record guitar on it tomorrow. That seems like the smart thing to do. And there'll be a vocal here. So maybe I'll keep these for the vocal. So I'm going to hit enter here, file, and I'm going to go up to new take, because that's going to be a guitar, and then I'll make this be new take as well, because when I do 2 vocals, I'll need 2 open spaces here, and tomorrow when I do the guitar, I'll have this open space here. So now on track 3, I'm going to place, so hit enter, hit file, and then I'm going to look for guitar left. Guitar left, and then here we'll put guitar right. Guitar right. And then here I'll put bass. And all this can be moved around and changed. You know, when it needs to be. Okay, so that's how you do that. Then you exit out. So now these 2 tracks are going to be recordable tracks that have nothing on them. They're both new takes. This will have guitar left, guitar right, and the bass. And so this is building that top row I talked about. My back row is the drums. My top row is going to be guitars, bass, drums, or guitars. I'm sorry.
vocals, guitars, and if there's still room for bass, you'll have the bass. So it'll be vocals, guitars, bass, and then the back row is the drums. There's not that many tracks on this tune, and I add tracks by doubling, so the actual recording tracks is, you know, pretty minimal. It's like around 8 or so. Alright, so that should help with that. Hopefully that made sense.
Okay, the last little step in the operation. Darn, it looks so dark in here. It's hard to get the lighting right. Okay, the last little step in the operation is just to play the tracks back and make sure everything's in place. So once again, I've got these first 2 tracks are now open, so that tomorrow when I plug in the guitar, I've got an open track. I'll move that over, you know, once I'm done. And I'll probably swap the bass over and put the guitar right next to the, so it'll be 3 guitars in a row. And then I'll do the vocal, which will leave these 2, because I usually double the vocal. Not double as in sing it twice, but just take the track and you know, put it in there twice. That's about 3 to 5 dB, something like that. Just to make sure it's robust enough, you know, because sometimes the Zoom preamps are a little thin. On some stuff, and the outputs can be thin, so I just double it. If it feels like it needs it, I double it, and it's nothing you can tell, because it's not like you're not doing any tricks. You're not trying to make things sound better or bigger. I mean, you're making them sound bigger by doubling them, but you're not manipulating anything. You're just trying to beef up the signal. All right, so let's see what we get on the playback. Just make sure everything's working. Because when you go in and change your tracks and come back in with the new tracks, you've made a difference. You know, you've changed it, but you've kept your original tracks, which are now still in the machine, and they're always reaccessible, and you can always get back to them. And that's, like I said earlier, that's where I go back to them. If I'm going to make any major changes, I'll go back to the original track. All right, so let's just see if everything worked for a second. Okay, I'm really digging it actually, and I think that what I'm going to do on guitar is on the last verse I'm going to do a harmony, just to make it a little nastier and a little more exciting on that last one. And then there is on the octave part, the I've got a riff that runs through that, like a lead riff, and I'll change it up the last time, make it even more like scorching at the end. And then the vocal, is not a huge challenge, you know, as far as range goes. I don't really sing super high. I just kind of sing in an affected tone, and I just want to make sure that it lands right so it doesn't sound phony. It's just kind of the voice that comes out whenever I sing this song, and you know, I just want to make it right. So, pretty good cleanup work here. Hopefully this helps anybody out there that's using whatever program. You can see that I do very minimal changes, but the high pass adds up. Because think about it, I did 3 tracks, a bass track, I cut it off at 20, guitars as well, and all those drums. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up, and I think it's the single most professional sounding little tweak that I do. Just makes it sound like a better room was involved, and somebody who knew how to roll things off, you know, here and there, better than I have the knowledge and capability without board gear at the moment. Mainly because to do this stuff, you got to do it all the time. You got to have this gear around you all the time, and you have to be working on projects constantly. It's like time in the saddle. That's all it is. I mean, everything else is creative, and you know, you get these ideas and doing cool things and making great music. But the technicals are it's just daily grinding, putting that catcher's mask on every day, putting on that welding outfit, putting on that you know, drywall suit, whatever it is that you do every day, and you got to grind and do it, and you don't get good at it till you do it a whole bunch. That's what recording is. Next time.